This is a true story. It is a book entitled The Man Who Never Was. It's a true story about British naval intelligence, considered the greatest ruse during the war. And it took place during the invasion of Italy, immediately after the North African campaign. And it was conceived in the mind of an ordinary soldier, a man by the name of Evan Montague. It's a fascinating story. I could take 15, 20 minutes just building the story. One of the greatest intelligence operations in the Second World War that turned the tide at that point. As they were making their approach into Italy, the forces had to go past Sicily. The German soldiers, the German defenses were deeply entrenched in there. And Evan Montague talked to his senior officers, and ultimately Churchill got involved in it. And he said, if we can get the Germans to move away from Sicily, then we've got easy access. Well, you know, that's like saying if you can boil the ocean, then you get the submarines up and you can shoot them. You know, yeah, sure, if you can get the Germans out of Sicily, but why will they move out of Sicily? That's en route to what we're trying to go to. He says, that's the point. Can we get them to believe a lie? That we're not going to Sicily, we're going to Sardinia. Churchill said, why would we go to Sardinia? He says, I know we're not going to Sardinia, but when you get them to believe we're going to go to Sardinia, how are you going to do that? They said they would get an announcement somehow to trickle through that somebody had crashed somewhere, a major officer carrying intelligence information, and in his briefcase was information of a secret plan of invasion. And so they were looking for this man, but no such man existed. So Evan Montague went to the hospitals and found out if they could give him a dead body, and they would throw it off the coast of Spain and hope that it would flow on to the Spanish land there, and that somehow there were enough informers who would see this, take the message, give it to the Germans, and get them to read this. He says, it's not going to be as simple as that. First of all, you usually can't just take an ordinary dead body. If they do an autopsy there, you can't say he died by drowning, because it won't show that he died by drowning. So they decided to find a fellow who died of pneumonia with some fluid inside his lungs, and maybe just enough to fool the autopsy procedure. They found a fellow, a father gave his dead son, they named him Richard Martin, they put him in a uniform, they put all kinds of papers into his, including romantic letters from a non-existent woman, tickets to the theater, a receipt for an engagement ring, and then the notes of how they were going to go to Sardinia, all couched in language but with just enough information for them to suspect Sardinia. And Montague said, let's include one line in P.S. I think he had got Mountbatten. Mountbatten said, let's not carry this too far. He said, no, we got to do it. But he put a P.S. When it is over, looking forward to having some sardines with you. The Germans fell for that line. This is British humor here. They're going to Sardinia. All the defenses being moved to Sardinia. All of them. It was called Operation Mincemeat. Operation Mincemeat successful. The man who never was lies in a grave in Spain today. He served his country, though a dead man, because he carried information the Germans fell for, and the forces moved into Italy with an extremely successful invasion.